to you all. Welcome back once again to the channel. You know it is JJ with you on JJ's PC Builds. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget about the like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I post the next video. Today, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update when it comes to the build I did with the MSI motherboard and the Ryzen 7 9700X. Now, if you guys haven't seen before, in a couple videos ago, I put into my PC that I got over here. You guys can't see it, but, you know, we'll try to get you a snapshot of it. I put in the Msi Pro B850-p Wi-Fi. It says it's ready for AI PC Lightning Gen 5. I put that in, and this was donated from one of my subscribers, Mr. Machine. He donated these parts, including the RAM. It's a Klevv RAM. It's 6000 CL28. He said he got a good deal on it. And you guys want to know what's going on with the PC. Well, today we're going to try a little bit of benchmarking and stuff like that to see how far it's got along. So give me a moment, let me get it all set up, and let me take you along with me. So stay tuned, there is more coming. Okay, just a little bit of an update since your first time here, or you guys are just wondering what's going on with the motherboard, the RAM, and the BIOS and everything. I figure I'd break it down for you really quick. We got the AMD Ryzen 7 9700X 4 nanometer. Gives you the stepping, tells you the TDP is 65 watts. It's Granite Ridge, and it gives you the core size. It's 8 core 16 thread, and the cache L1 is 8 times 32 plus 8 times 48. L2 is 8 times 1M, and then it's 32M on L3. And it gives you the clocks. The boost clock is 5.550 megahertz. Gives you the average clock and so on. With the RAM, tells you that this is the SRI core, and it got the KD5AGU A80-60B280G. Sorry, that took me a little bit. It's DDR5 6000. And it says PC5 48,000 DDR5 SD RAM UDIM. On Expo, each stick is 3000 megahertz CL28. The TCL or clock latency is 28, and then gives you the codes, and it's set on XMP at 1.40 volts. So that's the RAM. The motherboard is the MSI Pro B850-p Wi-Fi. It says AMD chipset, AMD X870/B850 Promontory 21.L6. Tells you the BIOS. The BIOS version is 2.A75, which is the latest version, and the BIOS date is 9/10/2025. I know I did all the BIOS updates myself. Tells you the memory size is 32 gigabytes of DDR5 SD RAM. Tells you each stick it clocks out at 3000 megahertz equals 30 times 100 megahertz gives you 3000. Gives you the timings, gives you everything you need to know. And the operating system is Windows 11 Professional 24H2. And the graphics card I'm using is the Asus Dual RTX 4070 OC model. Gives you the chip that's on there for the GPU, gives you AD104-250, which is PCIe 4.0 X16, which uses all X16 slot. So I'm very happy about that. So it's got 64 ROPs, 184 TMUs. It's got 5,888 cores, 46 ray tracing cores, and 184 TCs. So this gives you an idea where we're at, so you know before we do the testing what system we're running. So all in all, I want to make sure everybody knows that this is coming off of my PC, that it's running with all what's on here. So before I do the testing, you guys know exactly what you're seeing for what system. Now with this system, what I'd done in the BIOS was this. I turned around, I keep forgetting the name of it. That's my bad. But when it comes to the curve optimizer, I have it set at a -20. Now the VDDCR, the voltage for the chip, I have it set at a negative 0.1250. Negative offset. I want the voltage to come down, not go up. Reason for that is it lowers the temperature a little bit, gives it a good negative offset, and makes it run smooth, I think. So I've done that with the system I have right here, and I did it with this one as well. It seems that this motherboard will accept everything that all the settings I put from here, and I put it in on that motherboard. So it works, and I'm very happy that it does work. So, and I enabled Expo 1. Yeah, it was Expo 1. So with Expo on running at 6,000 megahertz, or microtransfer, whatever you want to call it, at CL28, the RAM is at its max performance. It could be more narrow, I know you guys are going to say that, but for now, I'm running it like this because it runs very well. And these are only 3 things that I did in the BIOS. Nothing else. Everything else is running on auto. I don't want to mess with anything else because this system runs really good, stays at really good temperatures, so I'm happy with that. So, let's go ahead and get to the testing. Okay, now we're on to the benchmark to see what's really cooking. This is Heaven Superposition. I run this because I want to see for stability what it's going to really do. Right now I'm running it at 720p because I'm testing the CPU, not the GPU. I want the load to be taken off of the GPU and put onto the CPU. Even though that most of the load is being put onto the GPU, it's still putting some load onto the CPU as well. So it's a little bit of a balancing trick, but as I can see, for the amount of FPS it has, it's doing really well. But this is just to make sure that when I'm running games, either it's CPU or it's GPU bound, I want to make sure at least it handles some of it. Now we're going to really stress this system out, and we're going to run this from 720p all the way up to 8K. Even though that my monitor doesn't reach 8K, it can still output picture at 8K because it's going to run the test at 8K, and I want to see if it does. I turned off the sound because you know how YouTube is, and I know, guys, you're going to say, well, YouTube, you know, yeah, YouTube's only going to let you play the sounds that they say is okay. So we're kind of restricted a little bit, unless we get a sound or music that is created by an artist and we got full permission to that music. If not, we're stuck paying royalties and everything else, and we really don't want that to happen. So the latency is real good. It's staying below 3 milliseconds. The GPU's hitting its max clock right now because I have it only set to run at overclock stock levels. And it goes from 2520 megahertz to 2850 megahertz, sometimes 29. So as we can see, we didn't get that bad of a score. So the temperature is real good. The minimal was 34 and the maximum was 51 degrees Celsius. So you know my CPU's not running hot. So let's go ahead and go back once again, and let's really hit it hard with 8K optimized. See what kind of load we can get put on the system. Now I think that's a pretty good load, bringing it from 500 all the way down to 38 FPS. And it seems that it's putting a lot of load on the GPU now. So this tells me that it's still gonna perform just as good. And the CPU's handling it very well. The CPU's doing fine. The GPU's doing fine. They're both staying below 60 Celsius. So when it comes to, you guys are going to, I know back then I said to everybody that AM4 was the greatest platform to be on right now. It is. But also too, now that I'm stepped up into the game, AM5 I can see is just a little bit better. Gives better performance on the CPU, making the GPU that I got, that I took from AM4 to AM5, work just a bit harder. And I'm very impressed with the way it's handling things. And to me, I can't ask for anything more. I know it would be nice to slap on a 5090 or something like that, but when you look at it in a consumer point of view, you're trying to save any money that you can when you're building a PC. Because times are tight and people know this, so you do what you can to make the best of both worlds. Now, if you want to get, and we'll go through the pricing right after we get done with this benchmark. How about that? We're just going through this benchmark right now, so that way you guys can see from 720p to 8K what the difference is. Now, I was expecting stuttering and everything else with it running 8K optimized, but it really doesn't. So that's a good thing when it comes to playing games. I know you're going to say, and I know I'm going to hear this, see, the max CPU temperature was 61 degrees. And that's at 99%. For some reason, it just doesn't like to hit it at the 100% mark. A lot of people have that problem. So, minimal FPS was 29.58, average was 35.54, and the max was 43.07 at 8K optimized. So, let's keep that in mind. Guys, this could be a new budget PC. Okay, the way I look at it, it could be a new budget PC. The reason why I say it could be a new budget PC is because you can find B850 motherboards at a decent price, which I found a couple at a good price on Amazon. You can go to Amazon, you can go to Newegg, you know, depends on where you want to shop. So what we can do is we're going to take this a little bit further, and we're going to take a look at Amazon. So stick with me and let's roll. And now that we're rolling on, I know I ain't got the big cursor today, I know. So we'll just have to work without it. We'll go to Amazon and see what Amazon's got cooking. So we can look at the B850 motherboard, AM5. So If we want to look at Intel, they got an Intel. That's not an Intel, that's AMD, my bad. But they got the Gigabyte Aorus Elite with Wi-Fi 7. That's not a bad motherboard. They got an Asus TUF B850 with the 14 plus 2 plus 1, 80 amp stages. This is, I'm going to tell you this right here. It's got USB at 10 gigabits per second and 20 gigabits per second Type C. BIOS flashback for $219. $219. They got another one here with the 5-year warranty. Not bad. Not bad. Looks like Gigabyte's stepping up on the game and they're putting a 5-year warranty in there. Not bad. So, but that's only 2.5 gigabit LAN. So if you hardwire, it's only 2.5 gigabit. And this one is 2.5 gigabit. And this one's 2.5 gigabit. So it's not fast speeds on the for hardwiring for the internet, but it's not that bad. Also too, you got this board right here. It's the MSI Mag B850 Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi motherboard ATX. Means it's full ATX. It's got PCIe 5.0 X16, M.2 Gen 5, Wi-Fi 7, 5 gigabit LAN overall for $230. Now that's not too bad for this right here. What I got is similar to that motherboard. Let's see. Let's go ahead and type in Amazon again. And let's type in MSI B850 850-P. It's supposed to be MSI Pro. My bad. Pro Wi-Fi. There we go. So, for a budget motherboard, you can get this one right here. They got it for $179.99, $180. Is that the same as this? They look about the same. Yep, they look exactly the same. So, what's the difference between the two? Looking at the picture, what's the difference between the two? Why is this one cheaper than this one? It's the same exact one. Let's find out. Let's see what this one offers. But they're offering it for $179. I'm looking at my motherboard and that looks like the same one. That looks like the same exact one right here. Yep. They crunched down the motherboard. So let's see, where are they delivering this from? Who's the seller? Who is the seller? It's the MSI store for $180. And it looks like that you can get the motherboard and the CPU. Looks like they got it with the 9600X. But let's see what the motherboard is about. Okay. So it's a socket 5 personal computer, DDR5, supports Ryzen 9000, 7000 desktop processors, AMD B850, clock speed 8200 microtransfers, so it can go up to 8200. It's the Pro board. CPU models AMD Ryzen 7. It's got ultra power. Supports the latest Ryzen 9000 series processors in high performance. The Pro B850-P Wi-Fi employs a direct 7-phase pack VRM for the AMD 850 chipset. Ryzen 9,000, 8,000, 7,000 with core boost architecture, which I know that. I've seen that. It's got Frozer Guard. Excellent cooling features such as 7-watt MK MOSFET thermal pads, extra choke thermal pad, and extended heat sink, including chipset heat sink, easy M.2 shield Frozer 2, which that came on one of them. And there's three M.2 slots because only one of them came with the shield. A combo fan for the pump and system header, 3 amps. DDR5 memory, PCIe 5.0 x16 slots, 4 DDR5 DIMM SMT slots, enable extreme memory overclocking speeds. So it gives you the speeds right here. Not too bad. 120 gigabit on the X16 slot with steel armor support, cutting edge graphics cards. Triple M.2 connectors, high-speed connectivity, which it does have, and so on and so forth for 180 bucks. Now, if you're going to spend like $20 more, figure out why. So everything here that's the same, you look at it, what are you spending 20 bucks more for? For the same processor, pretty much. Or the motherboard, my bad. Same motherboard, $20 difference. But for 180 bucks, it's not a bad deal. I'm using the same motherboard myself, and it's really good. So if you want to get a combo pack with the 9600X, which I would stay with the 9700X combo package, you can go the Tomahawk, but it's $229. You can get Gaming Plus Wi-Fi. I think the Pro version would be a lot better. They got a 650p. They got the MSI 650p. It's the Pro motherboard. Pro series. Okay, so for a 600 series to an 800 series, you're only saving a couple dollars. I would go with, if I was going to do it, I would go with the 800 series. That's just my opinion. Because if you're going to spend that kind of money, you might as well go with the best motherboard you can buy. It's a good motherboard for its entry level, but it gives you overclocking capabilities as well. And that's what you guys want. Now, if you want to go 20 bucks more, you can go and get a $200 motherboard. This is the V1. And you can get a V1 that has the USB at 40 gigabits per second. If you want something more powerful on your USB, which I don't need that kind of speed. Mine's got 5 gigabit USB Type A and Type C. It's got all that I need. I don't need anything more than that. The internet, 5 gigabits per second on the LAN. That's why I like the MSI motherboard, because it's got more function. More function than looking at the same price for an Asus motherboard. Believe it or not. And I'm saying it too. It's got more functionality. So, should you go with something that's same functionality but less, or more reliability? So, that's the whole idea. Right here, this will give you more reliability. So, I just want you guys to think about when you go shopping for your motherboards. I went shopping very carefully and picked out, in my mind, what would be the best combination. And for some reason, you know, one of my loyal subscribers, Mr. Machine, decided to trick me into this moment. Machine, don't get me wrong, it's cool, bro, but you tricked me into the moment. So, and he turned around, he sent it to me and said, here you go. Test it out. Here you go. Merry Christmas. So I'm testing it out, and I'm telling you guys, I am not disappointed with this motherboard. I'm not disappointed whatsoever. The temps are holding great. The motherboard temps are holding great. The CPU temps are holding great. The gaming's out of this world. Content creating's been really good. I really did not have an issue with it. And believe it or not, it works. With Windows, Microsoft finally works one-on-one with Microsoft. So I haven't had any Microsoft issues since the change. And I found out why about the Microsoft issue. Is because when you upgrade from their update center from Windows 10 to Windows 11, it leaves remnants of that Windows 10 in your system. So it causes a little bit of an issue with them trying to determine you got Windows 11 or you got Windows 10. It seems that it's got Windows 11, but it's still stuck on Windows 10. So what I'm going to have to do with this system here is I'm going to have to take it bare boned, take everything out, put Windows 11 in it, and go from there. Put the product key back in, put Windows 11 back in, and bring this back up to date. And then start it all over again, because I already transferred everything over to this new setup here, and then now I got to transfer it back over to that setup over there. So that way I got two setups with the same thing. But it seems that when, Microsoft, I want you to hear me out on this really quick. When you do those updates, any remnants that you got of the old OS from going up through these updates, you should have a program in there to give the option of removing that old remnants. So basically it's like a flushing. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I'm just putting that out there to Microsoft, that when you update from Microsoft's update center, there should be a way to flush out all the old and usher in the brand new. Especially when you're going from operating system to operating system. Now, they're saying Windows 24H2 and 25H2 are going to operate the same way. The only thing that's changing is the name. That comes to another problem that I got with another thing that's in the Microsoft software, but that's for another video. That's not for right now. All I'm doing is getting you guys up to date on what's going on with this motherboard here, the B850-p, and the Ryzen 7 9700X. I can tell you, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have zero problems. BIOS is up to date, everything is up to date, and everything is running smooth. Now, with the BIOS that's in this motherboard, I'm going to tell you guys, there's no problem with the BIOS whatsoever. The only thing I really found, and this has been a hiccup with all motherboards that I've dealt with UEFI, is when it comes to the PBO and Expo running at the same time. That's the only thing that I see that's a problem, because you can't manually set the PBO and run Expo at the same time. So it's one or the other. So I leave PBO on auto and let the motherboard decide my fate when it comes to the amperage, when it comes to the wattage. I let the motherboard decide that. But when it comes to the voltage, I decide that, because I have it set manually. So this way it doesn't overvolt the CPU. It gives it a nice runway for smooth running, and I don't have to worry about it. I set it and leave it. It's done. I set curve optimizer on a -20. I set the VDD-CR on a negative offset of 0.1250 volts. Period. And I set the memory, the system RAM, I set it on Expo to run at 6000 microtransfer CL28. So it runs at the proper setting. But it's not fine-tuned. I know you guys are going to say, Jay, you should fine-tune it. But, right now, when it's running great, I'm not going to upset it. I'm going to set it and leave it. The BIOS is done. I shouldn't have to go into the BIOS and mess with anything. Unless there's something wrong with the temperatures or something like that, then I can look at my AIO cooler, the pump, to see if the pump's running fine and everything else, which I can monitor that from Windows alone. So far, I have no problem with the pump running. I have no problem with the fans running. Everything's running really nice and good, other than the Mystic lighting. I got to go back in once in a while and fool with the Mystic lighting. So MSI, I'm going to give you a helpful hint. Fix the Mystic lighting to run for all hardware. So you dedicate it to where it'll look at every piece of hardware that's on the market and determine what kind of hardware that you have. It'll be able to predict it. So it runs everything on the market. Right now, with the fans for the Thermalright Aqua Elite 360mm AIO, and the pump, you got the lights on the pump and you got the lights on the fans. So it determines that. But now I have to go back into Mystic lighting because I see rainbow puke on the RGB lights on the system RAM. It looks like rainbow puke. It's supposed to be marquee red, but it's rainbow puke right now. For some reason, either the startup's glitching or something. Look into the glitching. It'd be nice if they made their software independent and separate from each other, like the fan speeds, the RGB settings, any AI settings or whatever they're going to do, all of it independent from each other. So you have an option. I don't think that the MSI Center, everything should be put on there, because when somebody opens it up, it looks too confusing. But if you put everything separated and then, give them an option of, how they want to, put together how they want the center to look, I think that would be a lot better. But the way you got it right now, it looks too generic, and you need to fix it. It looks too generic. And plus, you need a benchmarking tool as well. You don't have an actual benchmarking tool to be used when it comes to tweaking and tuning from Windows to the BIOS. You should have, just like what they have for Ryzen Master, but you should have something better than Ryzen Master that you can take and for MSI and be able to tweak the BIOS from your Windows operating screen. So that's just my bag on this for now, guys. I'm not hating on nothing. It's not that I don't, with AMD's Ryzen Master, I just don't like it. It's like you put it in and it takes like forever to pull it out. It acts like somewhat of a virus in your computer. It doesn't give you, basic look to where, you can overclock each individual thing to test it. It kind of bunches it all up together. Like, it just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't look right. So maybe MSI will come up with something that'll be really good for the CPU. They got something for the GPU. It's called MSI Afterburner. That's good too. But it doesn't work for the CPU. But we need something for the CPU MSI. Just to keep that in mind. For software, something like in overclocking enthusiast, which I like, is when you come out with something that really, really triggers every little bit of what's going on in your BIOS. So that way you can do it on the screen for testing, and you can see everything instead of going back into the BIOS, then coming back in, going back into the BIOS, going back and forth. We want something here on the screen that we can operate with. But anyway, guys, that's my rant for today. And if you made it to the end of the video, make sure, and I do mean make sure, you hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Don't forget about the notifications so you know when I post the next video. Until the next time, in the next video, you know what it is, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate